So, welcome to the No Shame podcast. I think this week belongs to the UFC for sure. It was amazing to see the idea of the island kicking off. So many questions leading up to that, and I have to say the UFC deserve a round of applause for pulling off what they did, because I think everybody was against them on getting that thing going, and for them to do it above the odds is amazing. Some of the fights that were lined up as well were probably some of the best, I won't say the best fights that I've seen, but definitely some of the best cards, or the better cards that we've seen in a long time. I think the cherry on the cake was definitely Masvidal having to jump in last minute there and do the main event, and hats off to the man, because the hype was definitely behind him. There's not a lot of fighters out there that can move the needle, but Masvidal is definitely one of them. Great to see somebody that's been around for so long in the sport as well, getting that experience, because what he did the other night, being able to just jump in for 5-minute rounds, and to be able to be calm and just go through them. Like the guys fought in the Playboy Mansion, the fight for the troops, so many different kind of situations where he just jumped for it. I think that's what makes him a fan favourite. Definitely makes him one of my likeable fighters the last little while. So yeah, I have to say hats off to the UFC. How they pulled that off. When you're looking at some of the videos, I was looking at some of Paul Rimmer's Instagram, some Molly McCann, James Doolin, who we had on last week, and you can see it was actually an unfortunate result for Danny Henry, but amazing result for Makwan, which is a really cool guy. I don't know if we've had Makwan on actually as a guest, but I'm going to work on that. We actually spoke about the submission that Danny gets caught in. So he gets caught in an anaconda choke from the side. Makwan is an absolute specialist in this, so I think anybody that's ever trained with Makwan has definitely had to tap to this or scramble to give up position for something, because he gets this choke so well. I actually only watched it again this morning, and it's the details, the way he does it. It's one of them things that it's his thing. So if anybody that's a grappler or a fan of the show that trains will know that everybody gets that one thing. There's always that one annoying guy in the room that knows that submission, and you know if he gets that position that you're going to have to submit. I don't think some people were happy with the Masvidal fight. To be honest, I think Uzumar being able to do what he did as well, that takes a long time. It brings the saying to my head. You see people kind of, it was boring. Why didn't they stand and bang, bro? And why didn't they? After about, I think when you're spending 10 to 15 years in the gym to learn how to not get hit and learn how to be able to control somebody else's struggling. A great saying is that, imagine trying to throw somebody that's trying to throw you. So just because somebody weighs 170 pounds, they're not. When they're resisting and they're pushing around, that weight changes. And to be able to go with the flow, as they say, I think Uzumar deserves the nod for that one, and the hats off. And Masvidal was humble in defeat as well. Tail of the tape there, I think, was the fakes from Uzumar and being able to get to the clinch position and push Masvidal up against the fence, and the toe shots. If you have not experienced a toe shot in your life, be Jesus, you need to figure one out. So probably got stomped on over 100 times, I'd say. I'd like to see a picture of his feet today. Probably the weirdest request from anybody, but I want to see a picture of his feet. Another fight that kind of broke my heart as well is the Jose Aldo fight. So Jose Aldo and Peter Yan, which is it's been incredible the last little while. It definitely is a younger man's game, the fight game, I think, and I think even when the mental aspect is coming into it now, it's even getting younger again. So when you have the maturity, you have the idea of being able to bring that with you into there. It's we can see that it's starting to work for the younger guys, and which is amazing as well, because I don't think MMA should be a career that you're doing for 10 to 15 years. I think it's something that as one guy said, get in, get out. You know what I mean? Get rich, get out. Masvidal certainly packed up a plane full of money with that one there. I think he learned the negotiation skills in that one. That was his kind of final stripe on his belt after so long in the company, where he's actually had to graduate for the negotiations. As I touched on there, Jose Aldo, and Pia Yan. Really good fight. I think we seen that little spell, and I think everybody was behind Jose Aldo because, let's face it, he's an old lion, and nobody likes to see it. I don't think an old lion should go out like that, where people get to see a young lion taking him out. I think that the time where Conor got the victory over Jose Aldo probably would have been where Jose Aldo should have started thinking about maybe hanging up the gloves, but. I've said it here before, and I say it again. Whatever gets you into that cage keeps you in that cage. It's your friends and your family that should be grabbing you by the ears and dragging you out at that stage, because I don't know about you, but nobody wants to see that. I don't want to see a legend, an absolute a stalwart of the sport being finished like that. I think there was a shot in that fight that people didn't really notice, and which I'm surprised that Michael Bisping and the other commentators didn't notice it either, because he gets caught with a really, really bad shot, but it's not in the chin. I thought the commentators would have caught it, because I seen it straight away. So when Jose Aldo goes in for the takedown, he kind of fails the takedown, which was weird to see Jose Aldo going for the takedown as well, wasn't it? And that little spell of that leg kick as well. Oh, I was excited. I think I was nearly asleep, and then I was back up on my feet. I was at when Jose Aldo started putting the leg kicks in, but the man still has it in the leg kick department. Another example of somebody that has that thing. But anyway, when he shot in going for the takedown, Pia Yan kind of pushed him off him, not even sprawled, but kind of pushed him off him, and Jose Aldo ended up in guard, in open guard. Pia came in to land some ground and pound. You could see he's kind of going for the forward, and he picks up that big one, and Jose goes up high. So I think it's the old high-low, isn't it? So goes high, and Yan goes to his belly. So he hits him with a nice shot in the belly. Jose's coach actually notices it through the thing, but it was definitely one that I seen. I was surprised that I think he was saved with a bell there for sure, because I think that would have been one of them. It would have been an experienced shot that you would have seen Jose Aldo getting taken out with if you must. I think that the experience of being able to get to that position, be panicky, and pretend to hear him, see the hands come up, and then go to the body, it just shows that maturity that I was talking about in the younger fighters coming up there. And obviously, Tug Rose, you'd have to give her a hats off for her own show of heart as well. Her eye looked like it was going to fall out. What a black eye coming out of that fight, but another absolute warrior that was there, able to, in them circumstances as well. I'd say that has to be weird. That has to be a weird situation, going out to the island and doing the quarantine and all in between, because I know for a fact that even the staying in the room part, that would freak me out. I had to stay in a room for The Ultimate Fighter, and I wrote it in my book, and I have to say, being forced to stay in a hotel is not a good situation. It's it really being in the room and being not able to leave at that stage was kind of gave me, I think it was 2 or 3 days that we did. Kind of puts my heart out. It does as well when you heard about the situations with hotels in this country. But I was in a privileged, absolute perfect situation, and I still found it really, really uncomfortable. It wasn't my home, and not being able to leave straight away. I don't know, that little rebel inside me or something must have been scratching to get out. But when I was told I wasn't allowed to leave the room, that freaked me out even more. I think I seen that shining through a little bit for some of the fighters as well, but it definitely makes it all the sweeter and all the stranger when they're telling their grandkids and 30 years from now what it was like to get flown out to an island and basically take part in like Kimute or kickboxer. When I was a kickboxer, and Bloodsport, yeah. So we actually mentioned that film last week as well. So if you haven't seen Bloodsport and you are a UFC fan, get your ass down to the video shop or on the Netflix or something like that and go and see it. Another thing that happened this week, heartbreaking news. An absolute legend left us, Jack Charlton. Jack Charlton was probably the greatest Irish manager that we've ever had for the Republic of Ireland football team. Some amazing memories that man gave us with the team and some of the sharpest one-liners that you would ever get. With condolences with his family and with his children, the clips of the 94 World Cup and the 90, you automatically get this energy in your body. it lifts you up, you know. But there's something strange in the Irish fans when we go away, and not only that, but when we're at home. There's a great part in the film. There is the van. We've mentioned it on this before. It's Brendan O'Carroll, and you can even see someone like Brendan O'Carroll and Colin Meaney, who's in that film as well, going on to do absolute massive things. Is a great example of people believing in themselves. Jack Charlton had that, I think, ability to be able to make people believe them in themselves, you know, with them little sayings like "put them under pressure," you know, like or it's going to be tough for us, but it's going to be tough for them too. Little sayings like that. I know as a former athlete that it can be one little thing like that somebody puts in your head when you're on your way, and that's it. It doesn't matter who you're marking anymore. And I think we need to get that back a little bit more. You know, everybody. I think the whole world has its gloves on now, when they're fighting in all different directions for all different things, but I think it's important to be able to believe and not miss the thing that we're trying to find, and to me it's what everybody wants. It's that belonging and that happiness, and that true happiness that's down in your heart. To me, it's when someone does put them under pressure. I was driving down to the studio today, and obviously I was thinking of the segment that I wanted to say on Jack Charlton, because I wanted to try and make it as heartwarming and heartfelt as I could, because he truly is somebody that, even as a kid, I remember Paddy was my favourite player. I was running around at 6 years of age, and I used to be screaming for the goalkeeper. My family used to find it hilarious, but it's even thinking back at these times that you remember the times where it was just about being happy, and about having them people around you that you wanted to have, your family members, and your dreams and your ambitions and all of that stuff that starts young. I remember the feeling it in my chest, and I probably then weight of it on my shoulders at times, that will to succeed, you know. I don't see it as much anymore. I see it around, but I don't see it as much as I used to anymore. I used to have friends who were going to be Superman, and then they kept that belief until they were up to 12, 13 years of age, and they realised that being Superman's actually a little bit harder than it looks. I'm not saying that there is some Superman out there, and some people out there that do absolutely incredible jobs in their communities and stuff like that, and they are the people who I think some of these maybe these superheroes are made after. So here's a little few tips. So yesterday what I did is, and I've been doing it the last little while, last few weeks, but I went out and swam again in the sea. I know that this is, everybody's doing it these days. I know that Dean Scurry is in court now at the moment, and he's fighting the case. Don't want to say too much about it because I haven't seen him say too much about it. So no doubt we'll get him on after this to be able to have a discussion about what's going on. But it's about saving them and stopping a sewage pipeline being put into the sea again, which is, I think it's all close to High Rock is where they're doing it. But the relationship people have with the sea in Ireland, I think, is absolutely incredible. And all over the world, of course, but like obviously I get to witness the one in Ireland. But when you go down to these little places and you go to swim and stuff like that, it's just this little community straight away, this little feeling of I don't know, classes don't matter, nothing really matters anymore. I was down swimming again yesterday, and I just love it. You just end up in conversation with people, and you're floating in the sea having a conversation with somebody. I walked by somebody yesterday on the way back from my swim, and I remember going down one night and having a conversation with this man for about 7 or 8 minutes in the sea. Both of us just bobbing around, and not talking about anything really, just talking about, I can't even remember what we were talking about. Absolute probably crap, to be honest. But and then I walked by him there yesterday, and he's like, "Oh mate, how are you going?" But that instant kind of human connection thing that I've been talking about, that I think that we all long for. It's what we want. It has that ability to kind of rise you up in the morning and get you out of that bed. I've been finding that lately more. I have that kind of that fight, that motivation in you to keep going forward, you know. So keep pushing through them boundaries, keep piercing through them little unknowns and places that you never thought you would have, and the places that you thought you never should. So yeah, I think the sea has been a massive healer for me with that. Like Wim says, if you let the cold in, It will heal you. I don't know if you know the story of Wim Hof and his wife. His wife died, and the idea of how he used cold water to heal himself. I think it's a tremendous story, and it's one of them stories that if you discover something and you find the power in it, that you have the ability to pass it on to other people. Wim is a great example, I think, of someone that didn't hold it, didn't keep it. You know, he spread that power he did, and he passed it on to many different people. Another situation that's going on that I want to make sure that I bring up is they are trying to they're in Tala here. We have a development. You sound like it's an apartment here, but there's a place called the Hellfire Club in Tala, okay, and it's up on Kiltipper Hill. Let me just make sure I have all Mount Pellier. So there's a place here in Tala called the Hellfire Club, and it's up on Mount Pellier Hill. I think if you're from around this area, you've definitely been there. You've heard the stories of it. So the story of this is an old hunting lodge. So and there's a tomb on the back of it as well. So a Celtic tomb as well. So a burial tomb that was found, and it was recently excavated. So this hill is special beyond the time of the building of this house. Now there's a fascinating house on the top of it that's built that is called the Hellfire Club. It's said that it was built by the stones of the tomb that was there, which meant every bit of it was cursed. Now some people, the history of this whole area down to Massey's Woods and down to all of this is fascinating. It's an absolute, probably one of the best places that I find that I remember putting a post up before saying I have conquered many mountains upon this mountain, because and it's a true saying, because the amount of times that I've gone through there with maybe opponents in my head, or maybe not physical opponents but mental opponents, and I've gone through them. So I've ended up conquering a lot of stuff going through that mountain, finding the answers if you must, while I've been up there. Now, going up there, I wouldn't have been expecting to find the answers, but when I come back down, I didn't even know that I would have found them, but the clear mind was able to help me. But this has already been approved by Onboard Panola, so there's not a lot of people that get to make the another say in there. I really do feel that a few people shouldn't be able to make the decision on the future of this area. It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful area. It doesn't need anything to change it. If there was anything to be put into this, it should be an improvement on the roads and the improvement and enhancing what's already there. So maybe the paths, but there is the marker is down to put a recreational centre up there, to build a sky bridge from one side to the other side. Now I know it sounds really, really great, but this area is not an area I think that in my generation I have seen. From a kid, I can see this creepy house from my bedroom window. It's right on the top of the mountain. I don't think that this is I don't think something that needs to be disturbed, because we don't have a lot of places where we get to pull back now and go back in time and just be able to, as I said, conquer some mountains going through that mountain, because there's many paths, there's many views there. I really don't think the improvement needs to be put into this area regarding the changing it for profit to put 300,000 people through here a year. I don't agree with it, and I will be standing against it. I will be voicing my opinion to oppose it, and hopefully it's something that in 100 or 200 years that it stays the way it is, and as all the madness under it is moving and building and going, that we have a place that we can go back to, and we can stay in a place that sometimes it's just nice to go back to and go away from the noise. You know, choose which noise you wish to hear. Because let's face it, it's strange times upon us. The world is sick at the moment. I think the world is ill at the moment. There's a lot of good going on. There's a lot of bad going on, and there's a lot of mixed good and bad going on. There's a lot of good people out there fighting for many different situations that I think that are important to people. And I just want people to remember to stay together, believe in each other, believe in that human connection, that human kind. That I very rarely meet bad people or rude, evil people. Now, let me tell you, there's no doubt that in the world, the last little while, we've seen some evil things come to the surface. That if somebody had said to us a long time ago that this was actually going on, we would have we would have put them in that category of conspiracy theories, if you must so. I heard something really, really good the other day. A really, really wise woman posted this. And every now and again, when you're flying through Facebook or social media or something like that, and you have that moment where you see something. It reminds me of why I actually even bothered to stay there, because it's a main place now. It's a very, very main place, and it is full of people that can say things but that wouldn't stand by that maybe in a face-to-face situation, and anybody that does stand by it and say some stuff and then stick by it, I respect you. I do believe in the idea of the discussion being out there and people being able to have conversations, to be able to understand where people are at. But there's some conversations that are starting to creep up that I definitely will be stomping out or staying away from, because I really do think the idea of making a decision for your own mental health and your own well-being is really, really important. No matter how strong sometimes you might think somebody is or they may appear, just take that little second sometimes to realise that we are all human. Everyone is human, and we live in a place that's a little bit more difficult to get on than maybe it was before. Now, saying that, difficult, when I'm talking about difficulties, been reading a little bit of history lately, and I have to say I picked up one book, and it's an incredible book, really, really well written, and the idea of a lot of quotes from the time and when it was written, which is something I love, because it's actually what's being said, and when you listen to them stuff, sometimes you can compare it to now. So we can learn a lot from our history, as they say. But when we talk about the times now that we're in, and it's like it appears that everything is so bad now, that the whole world is, as I said, it's sick, it's ill. There's some goodness and there's some badness, and sometimes it's being mixed together, and it's kind of hard to know where we're all at, where we're thinking. But reading some of the history that I've been reading, mankind has been through some terrible situations, that when we talk about, say, the COVID-19 and what has just passed us with the pandemic, when you do see the comparison with some of the situations I've been reading regarding the famine and the diseases that were around that, and so even some of the laws of the land back at that time that people had to kind of submit to survive. There's a story in one of the books that I'm reading, and a woman is walking. He describes that she walks out of the mist, out of the fog, and that she hands a baby to the family, and that she drops dead. You can imagine the will in a human being to be able to keep going forward and keep pushing through the feelings in your body of hunger and quit as well, because any one of us as being put in situations, we know that there's that voice comes very easy, it comes very soon. If you're an athlete or a runner or something like that, you get to feel it a lot of the time, so you get to talk to that wall if you must. But even though it does, maybe the point what I'm trying to get at here is, even though it does feel like the world is in a bad place at the moment, we have been in really, really bad places before. Humankind has come through some absolutely catastrophic situations, and sometimes it has come through better. On the other side, different laws, more rights, better civil rights for people, and a better spread of the wealth at times. That gives me hope. That gives me that little bit of hope sometimes, to see when you see the badness, that maybe it's the I won't say the calm before the storm. Maybe it's the eye of the storm at the moment, but when that passes, then there's that clear on the other side. But it's important that we keep ourselves sane during that, and that we make sure that you are looking after yourself, you're looking after other people, you're looking after your own mind and your well-being. It's very important to give yourself time, because if you don't love yourself and you don't put time into yourself, you're going to find it very hard to love and put time into other people. Before I went on there, that powerful lady, as I said, that wrote this up, will always write you a message, will always be one of them people that I'm saying that does look after and does look out for people, and doesn't do it for, I don't know, for likes or views, and does it for us. They actually care. They posted something the other day and I found it fascinating. I'd never heard this before. I'd never even seen it before, but sometimes, I said, that social media thing, when you find that one thing, it can click and it can grab you, and it makes you realise that maybe there is a few gems in there. But this is an incredible story. It's the story of Jean-Leon Grom, right? Now, I probably butchered that, but I'm sorry, I apologise. In the year 1896, bearing the title, The Truth Coming Out of the Fountain. There's so many different stories in this, I think, in this painting and in the way this is described, that take this, go away and have a little thought about it, and do some thinking. Do some thinking about what your own view of it is and stuff like that, because I thought it was brilliant. To think that something like this was wrote in the 19th century is amazing. I love this stuff. So here it goes. The truth and the lie met one day. The lie said to the truth, "It's a marvellous day today." The truth looked up to the sky and sighed, for the day was really beautiful. They spent a lot of time together, ultimately arriving beside a well. The lie said to the truth, "The water is very nice. Let's take a bath together." The truth, once again suspicious, tested the water and discovered that it was indeed very nice. They undressed and started bathing. Suddenly the lie came out of the water, put on the clothes of the truth and ran away. The furious truth came out of the well and ran everywhere to find the lie and get her clothes back. The world, seeing the naked truth, turned its gaze away with contempt and rage. The poor truth returned to the well, then disappeared forever, hiding therein its shame. Since then, the lie travels around the world dressed as the truth, while the naked truth stays hidden. How amazing is that? I hope you enjoyed that episode. This week I've been doing a lot of mindfulness and a lot of searching in my head, and I've been watching a lot, not being interacting with the world as much as I think I would normally, and it's been great for me. So if you do find yourself out there where you need to talk to somebody, or you need to have a chat, or maybe you do find yourself in that confusion, because I would find myself as a strong mind, and lately I've been, sometimes I just want to close the curtains, and I just don't want to participate in it anymore. Give me a message, throw me a message, and hopefully I can give you some tips on to be able to keep that head up, because find someone that's willing to listen. I think that's an important thing, because sometimes you can open out to somebody and maybe that's not the person that's willing to listen. Find somebody that's willing to listen. Hope you enjoyed that episode and you got something from it. Look after yourself.
We've qualified for the World Cup. Go and compete. We'll prepare and we'll go and we'll do our best. We'll put them under pressure. I will be here as long as I feel that the people want me. The game is about being effective, being aggressive, winning the ball, getting on with the play. We'll put them under pressure. It's not going to be easy for us, but it's not going to be easy for them either. Push people, push people, push people, push people. We inflict our game on the people, put them under pressure.